Hi there and welcome to Sal's Hoopheads. Great to have your company as always. Another week down in Tauihi. So much to talk about. Full panel tonight. Looking forward to getting into it. Ashten Prechtel is our special guest. What a start to the season the Southern Hoiho have had. Big welcome, the three of you. Crystal, the right side of the desk.
Right, I'm happy to be back. Thanks for having me back, and yeah, happy to be here.
How are you two going?
Well, not as good now that you're back, Justin, but great that Crystal's here.
There we go. Hey, round 4, Miles, it delivered?
It certainly did, and it's getting a little bit harder for the Pauakai. We'll have a look at their schedule coming up later on the show, but it's starting to get a little bit drastic for them at the moment, but you can see the improvement and the adjustments being made when the imports are gelling with the local players, and that's key, and that makes a big difference.
Before we have a look at the results, Crystal, do you like the rapid-fire nature of the season? We're 4 rounds down. For you, already halfway through your home and away schedule.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about we're already that far into the season. But yeah, the Rapid League has been great, I think, for the competition, and it's awesome to see our younger players once again be able to have some opportunities to show their game.
Let's have a look at the results, shall we? And it wasn't a good round for the Queens. The Phi split a pair, but gee, we saw some improvements from them. And how about the Hoiho? They just continue to rack up the wins. What a start to the season they've had. And the Kahu, excellent, 99 points in a game. You must have been happy with that.
Yeah, no, both ways. It was a very high-scoring game, and there was a lot of players out there seeing the ball go through the hoop.
10 assists. Now, what's your career high for assists? In collegiate level, this level as well.
Just make it up. Anything you want.
Yeah, do you know?
20? No. No, I want to say 10's probably up there. Yeah, I don't think I've ever hit the double-digit mark in the assists.
But was that a mindset? Was that a goal? Was it just the way that the offense was working and you're happy to swing around and find the opens?
Way that the offense is working, I think, definitely, and helps that my team can shoot the ball, and we have some great bigs inside that seal well and finish well.
Hoiho took down the Queens, second time this season. They went on an outrageous 27-28 point run. I'm a little bit worried that the Queens give up a lot of points in small parts of the game. It happened here and they could never pull themselves out of it. I like this Hoiho team. They are very well balanced and playing well.
Well, for me, it's not as much a concern about the defense giving up the points. It's the fact that you go that long without scoring. Yeah. Because this is a team that's built to push the ball, find pace, and score easy baskets in transition. Nice. And to go that long without finding a way to get to the basket, that gives me concerns that your strength maybe isn't the strength that you thought it was.
It's hitting those open shots, Crystal, as well, like knowing that you've got confidence in your youngsters and then knocking down those shots, because sometimes in this league the percentages are a little bit low from the outside if they're not experienced enough, but being able to knock it down and know that just opens it up for the likes of Prechtel.
Yeah, who's a force inside, but I think something else that's a great point is we are only halfway through the season, and to have these problems happening now, and you can go away, back to the drawing board, and you still have half the season to work on these things and get better. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about the Queens' lack of scoring yet. Hopefully they can turn around and fix it in these second half of the season coming.
And Ashten, we're going to talk to her shortly, but what she has added to that Hoiho team is not only unbelievable inside presence, but her court awareness is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see a 6'5" big bring the ball up the court and find her open teammates, and with people like Hurst and Bradley that can knock it down from the outside and play very well off hers. Great.
Let's go to the Kahu and the Pauakai. They did push you for a long stretch, but when it came to crunch time, you were just able to put them away.
Yeah, they have some key imports in their team, Dickie and Mac, who are both really hard to stop and gave us a lot of trouble, but in the end we did find a way to get it done, and our crowd definitely helped out down there.
I loved what I saw from Amari Thomas, especially down the stretch of that one. She absolutely took over inside on the interior, and the way that her and Panina Davidson are able to take turns, taking advantage of whichever matchup is the most beneficial has been interesting.
Miles, are you concerned, or probably not concerned, are you surprised that teams aren't fronting Amari Thomas more? She's a shorter forward. You may give up one or two sealing over the back. That'll happen. But they're not fronting her a lot at the moment.
No, they're not. But I also believe, if you have that and you've got Panina on the floor as well, that's another contention you've got to deal with down low. But I love the way you're working with Thomas in the pick and roll up high. Like it seems you've got the synergy straight away. As soon as you met, you're like, we're locked in here.
Yeah, no, she's a great player. We actually don't even really drill a lot of our on-ball reads and stuff. She just reads it great, and I'm able to find her rolling or popping or wherever she ends up free.
And one thing I'll say about that fronting point, it takes two to tango. And if Mara Thomas isn't letting people front her, that's the reason it's not happening.
Yeah,
so
100%.
She's got great footwork down there. She's got great. She takes up the space really nicely, and she is not allowing herself to be defended in that way.
I know you're a teammate. It feels like Tara Reid has really elevated her game. Do you feel that out on the court?
Yeah, I think she's really, like, her outside shot has improved a lot from last season, just the efficiency of it, and obviously she can blow by slower defenders and has a massive change pace, which is hard to stop.
And chat. There's chat. I love the chat. I know it's there. I want to hear it. I want to. Yeah, I know it's there. It's great.
The Phi and the Hoiho, they put on quite a show on Friday night. Rapid League earlier, I thought young Palace Hokianga was brilliant. And then the Phi, they took them all the way there. Such a thrilling finish. But this Hoiho team, they just know how to win, Crystal.
Yeah, I spoke about it last week. I think it comes down to their team culture, having someone like Sammy G, also happy birthday for last week, having someone like Sammy G who's just a great team person, can keep them, rallied together and get them through these games and finish them out.
I'll tell you who I like, Michaela Cowan.
She's playing with a lot of strength. I think her versatility with the ball in hand, she's got the ability to take those smaller players down into the block, and the ability to finish off the dribble, and the shot seems to be coming around. Looking like a very powerful physical force, too, in a lot of those situations she set herself up in.
My concern out of this game, Miles, Aaliyah Wilson only scored 3 points, didn't see a lot of her. In fact, she spent more time on the bike than she did on the floor. Injury?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, because if you spend time on the bike, that you're not working hard enough because your effort isn't there. It's something's going on. You're trying to keep loose, so I have to keep an eye on that one.
The Phi, sorry, Case?
No, well, I was just going to say once again, like Prechtel, another 20 rebound game. Just collected those like they're going out of style, man.
Yeah.
It's a difficult task to do once a season, and she's dropped it off with multitude already.
She's going to win the rebounds. There's no doubt about that.
I don't know.
That's a bold.
Your teammate might have something to say about it, and Penina, she might want to get up in that.
Let's go to the action down in Porirua, and the Queens go in as favourites, I think, against the Phi. Gee, the Phi, that barnstorming start, and the way they defended Crystal Carr, they narrowed the court down for the Queens, and the Queens just had no answers early.
It was impressive the way they played with a great amount of physicality. I think really, especially on Crystal Carr, took her out of her game, used a lot of size to double her, make those outlet passes difficult to make, and pounced on the passing lanes.
Maya Dodson was a late scratch. She does come back in this week, missed with an ear infection. That was telling.
Yeah, I think she was a massive missing piece for them, especially trying to break that pressure. Just having a big target, that you can see maybe potentially overhands and find her was, something that they definitely struggled.
Now, do you, when you have time to scout, do you look at what the Phi did and look at the success they had, and you try and do that yourselves, or you just trust in the, believe in the trust that you have with your teammates on the defensive end?
A little bit of both. I mean, that defensive pressure that they brought is hard not to look at and go, wow, if we can pick it up like that, we'll be in a good place. But also we're focusing on ourselves, and we have our own game plan that we want to stick to and kind of perfect in our own ways too.
And how about Crystal Carr on that one? 1 point through 3 quarters, 18 in the fourth to bring that all the way back. That's a mindset, man. That's not easy to do. When you're having a bad game, to pick yourself up out of the doldrums and affect a game that way, that's pretty impressive mentally.
Between Crystal Carr and Steph Watts, didn't score a field goal in the first half.
That's a problem, and credit to the defence as well, keeping them in check.
I like the Phi. I like the way they approached the weekend. They split it, but there's some good signs going forward.
Yeah, 100%. I think it'll be interesting to see if they can turn around and do that again, and if teams have a response for that defensive pressure.
Ladder. Let's have a look at it. The all-important table at the moment. The Phi have closed the gap. Hoiho, Kahu and Queens have skipped away. Pauakai with some work to do. Crystal, too early to start talking about ladder and positions at the moment?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. I mean, all of those points are coming into play. Rapid league points matter, as we see Pauakai, can get some points up there with those wins. So, yeah, a lot of work to still get done.
Speaking of Rapid League, it was another huge round of Rapid League. So much to enjoy about this young talent coming through, and we're starting to see the emergence of some of these players, aren't we?
Like Amari Thomas, Davidson, Crystal Ledger-Walker. Oh, no,
I'm thinking more like Anika Highland and Palace Hokianga. I mean, some really quality young talent.
But I think that's what's interesting is the dichotomy. You've got the vets that are coming in and getting to play against some of the younger players. They're learning something. The younger players are developing their games. And it has been an interesting experiment that I think has brought a lot of value.
What are your thoughts, Miles?
It's the trust that the coaching staff can see that they can place in the Rapid League that will hopefully transfer over into the main Tauihi game as well, because you're going to need spot minutes. She'll eventually need a rest, especially in the double.
That's all right.
Maybe you can play 39 and a half minutes a game.
Have you noticed the speed of Rapid League? Like, I think players are definitely going in thinking 4x4 minute, got to get up, got to get going. The name of the competition is Rapid League. It is just breathtakingly fast.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know if it's because coaches can't call timeouts or because the young players are really fit and can get up and down the court, but it is definitely a different style and pace of game than the main games played at.
Well, round 4 had everything in the Sky Broadband Rapid League. Time now for the Rapid Rap.
To the south we go, where the Hoiho hosted the Queens. The visitors securing a 27-16 win over the Penguins, courtesy of 7 each from Josie Truesdell and Eva Langton. Then all the way in the far north, it was the Kahu scoring a whopping 40 points to knock the Pouakai over. Penina Davidson scoring 16 in her Rapid League debut, propelling the Kahu to the 40-29 win. What a weekend it was for Palace Hokianga. 17 points for the Whai in their first Rapid League win of the weekend over the Hoiho in Tauranga, followed up by another 10-plus point performance against the Queens on Sunday. The 15-year-old quickly making a name for herself on the Rapid League stage as the Whai took out both games from the weekend.
Well, there's the Rapid League wrap. Super quick. Special guest for this week on Sal's Hoopheads, and boy, has she been a star in Tauihi. Ashten Prechtel from the Southern Hoiho joins us now. Welcome, Ashten. Thanks for being with us. Congratulations on the start to the season, but more importantly, how have you enjoyed your time in New Zealand so far?
Thank you. And it's been great in New Zealand. It's absolutely beautiful, and so I've been having a good time up here.
Ashten, you've been filling it up on the score sheet. I'm anticipating, in my opinion, you're going to be the first Tauihi player to get a 5x5 game. You're going to get 5 blocks, 5 steals, 5 assists, 5 rebounds at least, and of course the points as well. What's been the secret to the way you've played so far this short season?
I mean, this is my first professional experience, so it's just been very freeing, especially coming out of college. So it's just really been fun, and I think that's the best part of it. And my teammates are great, and it just makes it just fun to be on the court. And so
Yeah, a lot more fun when you don't have a drill sergeant college coach coming after you. It's more of a partnership. But in terms of your game as a professional, I've been pretty impressed by the way you've got a lot of versatility to it. You bring the ball up the court, you shoot that quick pull-up three, you've got that mid-range game. Was this something that you were allowed to do with regularity in college at the high school level, or is this something you've been working on and finally have a chance to shine?
Yeah, definitely not allowed to do that in college. I'd be on the bench right away. So I think it's, I don't really know exactly where it's coming from, I guess, but it's just nice to not feel the constraints that used to be there.
For sure. I remember actually playing against you in college in the pack, and you were a force back then. But I just want to know, at Stanford, such a nationally recognised program there, how did that help prepare you for this pro step in this, your first pro run as, a pro?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is I learned a lot about the not necessarily behind the scenes, but how to analyze basketball from for film level and stuff like that. So I feel like I understand a lot more of what actions other teams run, what we're running. And so even though that's not what our team's looking at, it's something that I know when I watch the film, I recognize certain things and this is how I should guard that player or stuff like that. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned and can take from college.
You've gone from college, you've had outrageous success there, you were drafted but you weren't kept around. What is that journey getting back to the WNBA looking like at the moment for you, and how close do you feel you are?
I mean, for me, it's really just a matter of, taking things one step at a time. And like with the WNBA, if I continue to get opportunities to go to training camps, I mean, that's huge. But I mean, honestly, like I'm super happy to be here in New Zealand. So like, it's one of those things, like it would be a really cool opportunity. But I'm just taking things as they come.
And then just looking at your college pedigree there, not just as a player, but academically as well. Stanford, one of the better schools in the world, not just the United States. The double major in management and science and engineering. What is it you're looking to do, looking at post-career? You've got quite a ways, I'm sure, before you have to worry about that. But when you start studying like that, it seems like you got a plan.
I mean, not really. It's a really broad major, so that's super nice. So I feel confident that I can do pretty much whatever I want after I'm done playing. I've done some work with an investment firm out in California, so that might be one of the paths, but we'll see.
Nice to go to Stanford. I didn't get that at NAU.
And lastly, we are so happy that you chose to come out to New Zealand. We're happy to have you here in our league. Is it what you expected? Did you look up New Zealand before you got out here? What were you kind of thinking of the culture or just the place in general?
Yeah. To be honest, I feel like I didn't know that much coming in, but I've definitely been having a great time, and the culture is awesome. I love the whole cafe thing. Like that's definitely my vibe. So I've been enjoying it for sure.
Excellent, Ashten. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, it's going well at the moment, isn't it? I remember game 1 of the season, Hoiho got that win against the Queens, and Ashten came out with a 20-20 game, and I think we all sat back and said, look out. Hey, really appreciate your time. Good luck on Sunday. Heading to Queenstown, of course. The Hoiho up against the Fire. It'll be another big game in Tauihi. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Ashten Prechtel. And she's taken the league by storm, hasn't she?
Look at those numbers. 18.5 points, 15.8 rebounds, 3.8 blocks, 1.8 assists, 3.7 offensive rebounds. Everything number 1 in the league.
Ranks top 5, everything,
and offensive rebounds. It's ridiculous.
Do you like playing against her?
Oh, man. No, she's a scary force, and I would much rather be on her team than going up against her every night.
Just shows you the quality of talent that's come out this season, though, hasn't it, Crystal? I mean, 9 WNBA players. You spoke about Connecticut Sun being drafted. I mean, there's still a long way for her to go, but to come out and play pro ball here, it's a notch on the belt. Right.
I'm so glad that she chose to come out to Tauihi and that we got her in her rookie season, because who knows how far she's going to go, and if we would have got her later down the track. Yeah. I think based on what we've seen so far, she's going to go a fair way. Round 5, let's have a look at the games coming up in GJ Gardner Homes, Tauihi. Pauakai, they've got a massive weekend. There's no doubt about that. They're in action twice. They're still without a win. Really telling round for them. Queens and Kahu, grand final rematch. We know those two teams love to lock horns. And as we said, the Hoiho up against the Fire. The Fire great in round 4. They've got a double again in round 5. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would love to know the doubles. How does that impact the way you train and the way you recover? Because it's a load, obviously.
Yeah, it definitely is. I guess the recovery depends on the travel, where the games are. That plays a big factor in it. But also, like, the scouting is really hard to do if you only have a quick turnaround. You can't get back on the court and really change up your game plan too much, so you have to really be onto it.
And for me, it's the Five. The way they came out and played against the Queens in those first 3 quarters from early in the season, not really looking like a top-flight offense or defense. Completely different team for 3 of those quarters. If they're able to continue that level of intensity, especially on the defensive end, they're going to make some noise.
And they were unlucky not to bring down the Hoiho in round 4 as well. They could have got the double. Some of these young stars coming through in that team, we're seeing it in Rapid League, and they're starting to get opportunities in Tauihi as well. I really like their youth development. Yeah,
100%. We were mentioning earlier Palace and how great she is, right, and how cool it is to have her in the league and going up against these top athletes. But someone else from Fire that I really like that's come along is Jade.
Yes. Getting a job every week, defensively, offensively. I think she's flying under the radar a little bit.
She's literally flying. Like, she's everywhere. She's up on everybody. She's diving on loose balls. I love that energy.
But they're going to have to start getting some more wins if they want that. You want that notoriety. You want to get noticed for it. It has to equal wins, not just the effort on the court.
Crystal, I know we're only season 2. The Queens and the Kahu, they've built a fair bit of a rivalry, haven't they?
Yes, we have We love it, though. It's great, I think, for the league and for the matchup. I mean, every time we go up against each other, we know it's going to be a tough battle, and there's a mix of great imported talent and a lot of local talent with the Tall Ferns going up against each other too.
Queens have won their last 4 games against the Kahu. I reckon that's on your mind, and I reckon you're taking that into Saturday.
A little bit. It's always back there. You hold on to the losses, I think, probably a little bit more than the wins sometimes.
Questions, here we go. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm back and I'm loaded with questions. Southern Hoiho pair, Paige Bradley and Elise Hurst. We just spoke to Ashton. They're the other 2 imports. Are they flying under the radar?
Yes.
They are, aren't they?
Paige Bradley in particular,
Yep.
I mean, nearly had a triple-double this last round. Her distribution ability is really impressive and key to their offense.
Elise Hurst, the girl out of Bendigo, great pedigree as a basketball family. She can light it up.
Yeah, she can. I mean, she went to Oregon, who's a top program over in the States, and has converted her game back here really nicely.
We had Ashten Prechtel on earlier. She won 3 Pac-12 championships.
Crystal.
Who was the only other college to win the Pac-12 whilst Ashton was at Stanford?
I should know this.
That's not a yes/no question.
It's a loaded
That's a
question.
setup.
I'm going to guess Utah, but I don't know that for a... Or Washington State.
Oh, how
Washington State.
Wow.
Well, there's two, like, you win the regular season and then you win the tournament.
It's like she said, she only thinks about the losses. She's not.
Is that garbage truck backing up at the moment?
There's the laser focus. The blinders are on with an athlete. I love that.
Crystal Carr, is she the most exciting player to watch in Tauihi at the moment?
Yes, and Ashton. I think they're neck and neck at the moment because Ashton, she is, like you said, she's shooting it from everywhere. She's rebounding. She's blocking shots.
Yeah.
She's all over the floor. I love watching her game.
Well, you've played on Crystal. What's it like?
Yeah, it's tough. I mentioned it last week. She's super quick. If you gamble on anything, she's gone by you. But looking at her last game, I think she just showed the type of player she is. She can change the game. I mean, she came out in the 4th quarter and totally changed that game against the Phi. So, yeah, she definitely can get going.
Should we be worried about the mainland Pauakai Casey 0-5 start?
Yeah, I think about 2 games ago. You start off 0-5, especially since they've got some success in the Rapid League, which has kept their season from really being a wash at this point. But they've had some turbulence, not just with players, but with the coaching staff in and out. They need to knuckle down now and really make some inroads.
Some injury concerns as well for the
Pauakai. And I mean, once you start like the losing mentality, I guess it starts affecting you, and you start thinking, when are we going to get that win? And the Hoiho had that problem last season as well, where it just felt like you're running downhill and you can't stop.
Have you played against Jasmine Dickey yet?
Yes, I did. And man, she had 30 points against us and was a force. I actually guarded her a few times, and another one that's super quick, can just fly by you for any rebound. And has a really nice jump shot that she can get up over anyone.
This feels like a bit of a no-brainer. Zoe Richards, is she currently leading the way for most improved player?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, so I'll go yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Double the scoring average, double the rebounds as well, and contributing to winning in a way that just wasn't possible for them.
She's having a great season, isn't she?
She is, off the back of her just getting back from, I think, Luxembourg.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, and I think that's super cool. We can see players go overseas and come back to this league and show how much they've learnt overseas.
I think last season you could see she's got the tools because she's a talented player, but now she's got the confidence to use them wherever she is on the floor.
Yeah, it's helped her moving into the 4 as well.
And a bit more talent around her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a much stronger team that allows her to play to her strengths.
Not sure you two are going to be able to answer this question. Who was the last player to score 75 points in a game in New Zealand? Have you got any idea?
I'm going to go Ronnie Joyner.
I'm going to say Phil Jones.
I'm going to say it happened in the last couple of weeks.
And I know the answer is Tia Tauihi. She's an absolute force, one that should definitely be on coach's radar for this Tauihi League, because I think in the future she's going to be one to watch out.
So it was in a high school game, college game?
High school game down in Wellington. Don't know all the specifics.
75?
I was going to say, was Justin marking it?
Probably.
That's impressive.
She would have had 80.
You could have held her to 74.
No, nobody was guarding her by the sounds.
75 is a lot of
good,
buckets. Yeah.
Round 5 coming up. Get out there, support your teams in Tauihi and Rapid League. Get out there and buy some tickets. Crowds have been great.
Crowds have been good. It's been cool. We went up to Whangarei last week and it was a massive crowd up there, not just for us, but also Kenny and Terai who was out there. So, definitely get out and support the local talent.
I'm not going to see you two till next week. I'll see you Saturday night.
You will.
Looking forward to it. Kahu and the Queens. Get out there and support your teams. Round 5, Tauihi coming up. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Sal's Hoop Heads back next week. See you then.